We're at the sprint spot. Today, I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about block sprints and how to better your acceleration out of the starting gate. Now, hopefully you've already watched my roller sprint video and how to really build that top end leg speed towards the end of a straightaway. So as you can see, we have the sprint block here. The sprint block really helps allow you to sit in that natural position like you would on a starting gate and really getting the most out of those first few pedals, helping you build that acceleration to that 30-foot line and to that first jump. Just a normal block or a stand that doesn't move, that is fine. But when you have a block that doesn't actually move, you can't actually lean back into that position. Because if you lean back, we're always going to naturally pull on our handlebars. Well, if you pull on the bars, the bike rocks back, pedal rocks down, and you're pushing into a block that doesn't move. That's what's so special about the sprint block. It's got that sliding mechanism to allow your bike to really kind of move in that natural motion. This sprint block is my #1 training tool I own. They are a bit expensive for what you're getting, but it's a great investment to yourself, and it's not a bunch of 2x4s on drawer hinges just nailed together. I'll put a link in the description. We have our Brower timers set up. You guys always ask me about what timers I use. Brower timing system, they're pretty expensive, but I always try to tell people about these Amazon ones I've found. Some have had great success with the Amazon ones. Some kids I actually work with personally, they don't work at all. So they've been pretty hit and miss on those. I don't want to say go buy these Browers. They are not a sponsor in any kind of way. I've had them for years and they are pretty flawless. So if you want to invest in the good stuff, you can't really go wrong with the Browers. I'll put links in the description to all the ones I've found. We are set up at 60 feet, which is roughly about 20 meters. We have 2 light poles here. I just go light pole to light pole. Now, we're focusing on our 60-foot sprint. But be sure you watch to the end of this video because I'm going to switch it up towards the end and show you how we can really work on those first few pedals to really get to that 30-foot line faster. And before we get into it, I have to plug this. I built my new hologram RSP last night. This bike might be one of my favorite builds yet. That's a whole nother video. If you want to see details on that, jump on my Instagram. Let's get into it. All right, we got our clip shoes on. Got our helmet on. I just did my dynamic warm-up. You always want to warm up before you get into the sprints. Now for the roller video, I talked about doing roller sprints as an activation to come into these sprints. But for today, just so I can show you guys, I actually did rolling start sprints. The same way, I started back a little further, so I'm building my speed as I get up. Once I get this point, that's when I started really getting into my sprint and really maxing out those legs. That's where my activation came in, and that's how my downhill rolling start sprints work. So if you ever hear me talk about rolling start, that's what we're doing. We're rolling into our acceleration. I do these at a very slight downhill, so I am going pretty fast by the time I max out of these. So always wear a helmet. A lot of people ask me about uphill sprints, flat sprints. I personally never do uphill sprints. I just feel sprinting uphill is putting you in an unnatural position compared to sprinting down a first straightaway. People do uphill sprints because you want to build that strength, right? You just want to smash up that hill and build that strength. Well, just going on flat ground is going to be much more of a grind than coming out of a starting hill or a downhill, right? So just behind me, I have about 30 feet of flat surface. So when I want to do my flat ground sprints, I start here. 80-90% of my sprints are done on a very slight decline like we are here. We're always sprinting down a starting hill, right? So I just feel it's just a lot more relative to what we do. We're always going to be in a natural sprint position down a first straightaway like this. We train how we want to race, right? So I just really try to base everything on this exact same spot. All right, let's get into it. The block. Get clipped in behind the block. This is going to save you a lot of time and energy. Roll up, finger on the brake, just work on your balance here. Foot's over the block, drop it down. We're in place. Obviously I'm sitting here, the block isn't sliding backwards on me. All we want to do is keep our weight on the back foot. If we put any weight on our front foot, it's going to push on our crank, rolling us forward. So until we sprint, all our weight needs to be on that back foot, and the block does not slide backwards. Hold your brake, get clipped in. Now we're on the block, ready to do a sprint. I teach this in all my clinics. Right now, we're doing sprints. We're not doing gate starts, okay? So we need to set ourselves up for sprints. We're not trying to snap hard, do a wheelie. We're focusing on applying pressure down on those pedals, really putting that force through, building those muscles in our legs, okay? The goal here is to build our forward acceleration. So when we snap, I don't need to snap and go up to the sky, and I don't want to snap and drop my weight down. We're going to lock in our core nice and solid here. Slight lean back. I'm having a little bit of pressure on my front pedal, more of an awareness, being aware of my front foot. That's what we're getting started. We got to push on that pedal to get up and off the block. We're going to point our front foot. If our heel is down like this, our first movement to pedal down is lifting our foot. So go ahead and lift that heel, point that front foot slightly, and be ready to drive that force straight down with no hesitation. Wrist. I like to just have a nice straight line from the top of our forearm to our wrist. Everything's locked in. We're not like this, not really bent over here. We're just locked in arm, straight pull. I roll forward. I take a breath out, and what I do is roll my shoulders. I roll my shoulders back. If we have bad posture and our shoulders roll in, we go to pull, our shoulders gotta rock back before we're pulling back. Let's just go ahead and have all that locked into place. That's one more position just to be locked into place and eliminating any extra movement on that initial drive forward. I like to look ahead just 3 or 4 feet, find myself a goal. You can either have the app that says the cadence, or sometimes I just like to say ready, set, go in my head. Sprint number 1. I'm gonna be going for about 8 to 10 of these sprints today. My biggest thing, I like to watch my times. We're always looking for our fastest time of the session. We always want to beat our fastest time of whenever. The timers don't lie. Using timers for your sprints is like using weights in the gym. If you have timers, or if you're gonna get timers, don't expect to get your fastest time ever, every single session. Every rider is different, every day of the week is different. Everyone's at different phases throughout their training. You might have had a big, heavy week of training. Come Friday, you're wondering why your times aren't as fast. Probably have a little bit of fatigue, and that's normal. So don't beat yourself up. And I say this because I was that rider when I was younger. I would beat myself up if times weren't what I wanted to see. Let's see what our time is. Time number 1 is 2.81. My fastest time for my last session, granted I just started doing my sprints this year in February. My fastest time this year so far at this spot from pole to pole on my marked areas is 2.77. So that's what we're gonna be looking for. I'm fresh right now, so I wanna be kind of hitting that mark. I think my fastest ever here was 7.4, 7.5, so doesn't matter today. We're at a different phase in our training. Okay, sprint number 2. So when I'm coming off this block, we just talked about locking everything in, right? Lock in our shoulders, have those wrists locked, have that foot pointed forward. I personally like to have a goal in front of me. I find something to look at, and that just gives my brain a task and a goal to fight to. I do the same thing on the starting hill. I watch for the red lights, and I find some kind of mark on the hill, giving myself a goal. Everyone's goal is to get to the first jump first, right? Or the first turn first. My goal is 10, 15 feet ahead of me so I can get to that 30-foot line first. Suck that belly button in. You want to have a nice tight core. You want to have all those muscles around your spine locked in so your spine's not bending this way or bending this way. It's not just about start pedaling as hard as you can off this block, okay? You really need to break these steps down. No one gets cut off at the first pedal. You get cut off at the second, third, fourth pedal. No one can beat the gate. First pedal is all about timing, being as close as you can to that gate without hitting it. So with that being said, we need to really have a good drive forward, right? Good timing first pedal. Our second pedal is gonna be the one that makes the difference in either you getting cut off or you cutting off your competition and getting that whole shot. So we're driving forward. We are pulling on that back foot. That's when we're engaging our hamstrings. We want to really focus on being aware of pulling and rotating that foot up to drive that second pedal down. We need to be putting just as much force and focus into that second pedal, if not more than our first pedal. Again, first pedal is all about timing. Be as close as you can to that gate, drive through, and pull and stomp that second pedal. And I say all this because as my back pedal tops the 12 o'clock position, from this point, I am focusing on flipping my foot, rotating my hips back so I can get that foot to apply pressure down at the highest point. Now, if you're just being lazy about your second pedal and waiting for it to come around to about, say, 10 o'clock area, 2 to 3 o'clock your angle, if you're over there waiting to start applying pressure here at 10 and 9, you just missed out on a lot of pedal stroke. This is where those 1%ers always talk about come in. We want to be trying to get the most out of this pedal stroke as possible, okay? We only have from here to gain acceleration with this second pedal stroke. So really be aware, again, give your brain a task. Focus on pulling that second pedal around and stomping that second, okay? My flat pedal guys, I know you're gonna tell me you can't pull, right? And I get that, but having the awareness of that second pedal is gonna allow you to be able to apply force higher on that pedal stroke. Everyone on the gate is on flats with you, right? So focus on that second pedal and just be the one applying that second pedal sooner. Sprint number 2, and we'll get into more. What's the time? Sprint number 2 is a slower. 2.83. A little slower on that one. It's okay. I'm gonna have to be a little more aware. Got my timer going now. I can't be doing 5-6 minute recoveries. You don't want to be tired for each sprint. You want to be 100% recovered for each of your efforts. We're sprint athletes, not endurance athletes. So when you do your max effort, even if you don't feel that tired, it's a lot of stress within your body doing a max out sprint. So when we're training those fast twitch muscles, you really want to make sure you're 100% recovered for each effort. So I like to do 2 to 3 minutes, and I'll listen to my body. When I get up here, I want to just be at 100% every single effort. But if you wait too long, your muscles are warm, they're gonna get cool, and you want to have that happy medium where you're always kind of warm. Okay, so we went over our first and second pedal. Now, whether it's a sprint, a moto, a semi, a main, I am always aware of my first 4 pedals, my 1, 2, 3, 4. After that, you can't really count them. Everything's moving too fast, right? I'm gonna repeat it a lot. Giving my brain a task. I am focusing on those first 4 pedal strokes. I'm not thinking about the first turn or the first jump. I'm thinking apply the most efficient pressure on those first 4 pedals and I have a better shot at winning. We'll worry about the rest when we get there. We can only focus on one thing at a time. So focusing on those first 4, I literally counted myself. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm saying that in my head all the time. I get behind the gate at races and I repeat it to myself. I visualize that process so it just becomes second nature and just autopilot. Just turn those 4 pedals over. Count them to ourselves, first 4 pedals, and then just spin fast. Where we at? 3 minutes. Let's go. Sprint number 3. What do we get, at 8.1? I think we can get a 2.80 on this one, right? 2.80. Oh, a little spin. What do we get? Oh, 2.79. Set goals for yourself, people. It doesn't always have to be the fastest. Be realistic with yourself. Watch your numbers and just each one set a goal. Again, if you don't reach it, it's okay. Maybe you weren't efficient. Maybe you missed your second pedal. Maybe you rushed your first pedal. I think my second one, I did rush the start. That time I was just really aware. Just a nice, smooth first pedal off the block, really applying pressure. Again, I'm not snapping, I'm not racing anyone. I just want good force and drive on that first pedal to get me going, to set me up for a better second pedal, okay? Again, we're not doing gates, we're doing sprints. So make that first pedal smooth and efficient so it sets you up for a better second, third, and fourth pedal. Sprint number 4. We got our awareness on the first 1, 2, 3, 4 pedals, right? So after that, again, back to giving ourselves a task. Think and visualize fast legs. Just spin, spin, spin. When I reach that max point, especially on sprints, because I'm not focusing on a first jump. We're just trying to max out our legs, pedal as fast as we can. I count those first 4, and I just think, fast legs, fast legs, fast legs. Replaying it in my head, giving my brain one thing to think about. Fast legs at that point. Shoulders locked, foot forward, tight abs. Fast legs, fast legs. I went to a longer bike. I went to a double XL this year, mainly because Chase is discontinuing the XL Plus 21.25, which is the one I rode. So if I want one of the new carbons that are coming out, I may either have to go down or up. When I first got on Chase, I went to a longer bike, longest bike I've ever ridden. But it obviously worked pretty well for me the last 3 years. So I bumped up to a double XL. Whether it makes me any faster or not, just, it feels good. We'll find out here soon enough. Oh, consistent. That's what we want. 2.79. Consistent numbers is more important than one fast number. Yes, you want to see a fast number and see what you're capable of, but if you go and get your fastest gait of the day in your third moto, but you can't be consistent and hold that through your main event, it's not really doing you any good. All right, sprint number 5. Starting to run out of these angles. Trying to think, what have I missed? What's our steps? I'm literally walking you guys through how I approach every one of these efforts. The biggest thing from this point is repetition. At the end of the day, we want to get better at sprinting. We want to get whole shots. Some of this stuff does get repetitive, but it's repeat, repeat, repeat. We want to get that muscle memory. We want to do all the work away from the race. So when we show up to the race, the racing theoretically should come easy. Don't just rush your process on the sprints. Get on this block with intention. Get on the block, go through your routine. Get a routine that is such a habit, you go through it at racing without thinking about it. That's what I do. Just like our numbers, we want consistency. The more we can build good habits, the more consistent we're gonna get with those habits. End it with 6 right now at our 60s, and then we're gonna switch it up a little bit. I think our fastest one was a 7.9, 7.8 right now, 7.8. Oh, I'm gonna spin. Oh, 7.7, that feels good. We can very easily try too hard and not be efficient. So what I did, I could feel when I pulled, I probably pulled up too much, which unweights your back wheel and you lose traction. So I felt the slightest little on the ground, and that would have been from my upstroke, just probably putting a little too much into it, but we still got that fast time, so feeling good. As much as I want to keep going, I want to switch this up and show you guys my next tip on how to really generate that better acceleration right out of the gate. So we focused on our 60-foot sprints. I have little marks that I know where to put my timers every time. So if you put your timers 6 inches one way or another, that's a big difference. That could be 0.02 or whatever. 6 inches is 3 or 4 bar ends, you know? It only takes a bar end to cut off your competition. So you really want to try to have a sprint spot that you can mark on the ground to have consistent setups. Now, that was 60 feet. This is roughly 30 feet. I think this is actually in meters. I have a 5 meter mark, a 10 meter mark, a 15, and a 20 meter mark. Like I said, we have a 5 meter spot, which is roughly 15 feet. 15 feet is pretty short to your start, right? Now let me tell you why we do that. So this is my 5 meter, 15 foot mark. That's a very short effort, right? I'm gonna do 30s because that's just what I wanted to do today. It's the same difference either way. When we do sprints, all we think about is getting from point A to point B as fast as we can, right? Wrong. Yes, that's what the majority of you guys think about. But now after watching this video, you should know the steps we need to break down. So it's not only just about getting from point A to point B, it's about getting off the block smooth and efficiently, pulling that second pedal around, getting a good second, third, fourth, building good speed into that initial high speed pedal where you're just thinking fast legs. Then we get to point B. Well, if you put your timers right here at the 15-foot mark or the 30-foot mark, we all know the 30-foot line, well, that's a lot smaller of an area to put a lot more focus. So if you are thinking about getting from point A to point B the fastest, you're gonna have to put a lot more focus into your 1, 2, 3, 4th pedal stroke to get to that point fastest. I have times from this month at 30 foot, that's why we're gonna go 30. I haven't done any times at 15, so I'm gonna do that on my own personal time. So we're gonna knock out some 30s and see how those times compare to last week by really giving our brain that task to hyper focus on those first 4 pedals. Last week I only did 3 of these and I had consistent 1.60. So let's just see if we can fire it off with a 1.59. If we want fast times at 30-foot line, we gotta be a lot more efficient to get there, okay? We can't have a bad start and catch up towards the end. Everything's gotta work efficiently here. We're pulling today, people. What'd I say, 1.59? 1.57. See if we can repeat that. 30-foot effort number 2. Felt like I got a little sloppy on that one. But sloppy or not doesn't always mean slow or fast, because the times don't lie. So we did it again. We got another 1.57. Don't want you guys thinking I'm lying to you. Let's go. We're gonna get one more of those, or we're gonna set a goal to get another one of those and wrap this session up. We're gonna do this one a little different. You guys have seen me sprint enough, right? I'm gonna try to set this up where you guys can see the time before me. Can you see it right there? My battery's flashing red. We gotta hurry on this one. Relax, get calm, reset, there's time. Come on, 1.57 is the goal. Come on. That was definitely an effort where I tried too hard. What do we get? Oh, no. I blew it. We're going to redo it. That one was a fluke. I rushed the process. All right. Wait. Is that what that's what it is? I'm over here cheating myself. My block slid forward. I was closer to the timers. Okay. What do we get? Okay, it messed up somehow. 1.56. I don't know how it does that, but of course it was the one where I'm showing you guys. Every now and then it picks up 2 points of the bike, so it shows like a split. That's why you saw the 6.2, but you guys saw it. 5.6. We're wrapping this session up. We're ending it on a high. Thanks for joining me in this sprint session. Get out there and put in the work. You don't win races without putting in work. It doesn't come for free. Now, if you're still in this video, 1, thanks for watching it all the way to the end. 2, I've been getting requests for coaching for years now. This year, 2025, I'm gonna be very selective, but I'm opening up to coaching. I really wanna get some serious riders I can get behind and help out. These last 4 years of racing has been such a test for myself for this moment right now. I want to take what I've been doing for the last 4 years and give it back to riders that want to reach that next level. So if that rider is you, and if you want to get on a program or training with me, even if it's just a monthly program or direct coaching by me, we have multiple options. Check out the description. Again, I'm gonna be very selective and you have to be serious. I'm only gonna work with serious riders. So thanks for joining this session. Thanks for being here to push me. Now I'm gonna have a new PB, a new personal best to go into next week. If you like this content and you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button, because there's gonna be a lot more how-to videos to come this year. Until next time, we'll see you in the next one. Peace. Run.